We bridge the gap between the history of the Lifesaving Service and the modern day Coast Guard. So when we bring school groups through here, we give them the whole history, we give them the tour of the museum, and then we ask them, well, we don't have the Lifesaving Service anymore. Like, who's here now? And hopefully, you know, some of the kids will pick up on it, like, oh, I've heard of the Coast Guard, and you know, at the end of the tour, like, oh, wow, like, these guys in the Coast Guard, they're really cool, like, and they get it. And once you see those light bulbs going on and bridging that gap between history and today, it like all comes together. Right now we're standing inside the Indian River Lifesaving Station. It was built in 1876. It became active on January 1st, 1877. It operated as a lifesaving station until 1915, when the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service merged with the Lifesaving Service to form the Coast Guard. And then this building was an active Coast Guard station until 1962. In March of 1962, there was a really large nor'easter. A lot of locals know it as the famous Ash Wednesday storm. And there was so much damage to this building that was decommissioned. There was actually 7 feet of sand in this first floor that we're standing in at the time. So at that point, this building just sort of sat here for a couple decades and deteriorated. It was used as a maintenance yard for the State Highway Department, and eventually in the 90s, a nonprofit got together, saw the value in this site, and they raised the funds and restored it into its 1905 appearance and a museum for the public to come through. We did a reenactment of the breeches buoy system, or the beach apparatus system. It was one of 2 rescue methods that the surfmen would have used to rescue ships in distress. One way they would take the surf boat out, row it out, but obviously that's going to be dangerous. It's putting their own lives in danger. So the Lifesaving Service came up with this ingenious system called the breeches buoy, where they would fire a line out to the ship, which is what we did. We fire a line out with a small cannon called the Lyle gun, and then they rig up a whole system of different lines, and eventually it acts as like a continuous clothesline system, and they send up a breeches buoy, which is the buoy with the pair of pants sewn into it, and they pull on the different lines. They send the buoy up to the wreck pole, which simulates the mast of a ship, and then Coast Guardsmen get into the buoy and bring them safely down to shore. Really, it was a great way to get people safely off a ship without ever having to put your own lives in danger.
I think a lot of people appreciate the work of the United States Coast Guard today, and it's important to recognize that this work was started back with the rescue part of the Coast Guard mission was started back with the Lifesaving Service, and it was those people that developed the original protocols for helping people in distress at sea. And some, not many, but some of the same protocols are used by our modern day United States Coast Guard. And certainly, if none of the protocols are at use, man, the spirit and the feeling of mission of helping people in distress is carried over directly from the United States Lifesaving Service into the U.S. Coast Guard.
This coast that has so much history, and people don't realize the scope of what was going on around the turn of the century, and even before that. Just our station alone, our crew responded to 62 shipwrecks, saved over 419 lives. Just our station. That's not counting the other Delaware stations. And it's kind of like this forgotten history that not everybody really realizes they should have an appreciation for. So we're really honoring the surfmen of our past here, and honoring everything that they did. I hope to be in this role for many more years. I love it here, but one day I'm going to have to hand the keys to somebody else. I don't know when that'll be, but I hope that what we're doing now continues. And I will say, just in the 3 years that I've been here, I've seen an increase in participation in our programs. Like, just the number of people who attend our Maritime Heritage Festival and our breeches buoy demonstrations like today. Like, we see more and more people coming to those. When we first started doing them 8 years ago, we got excited if we got 20 people to show up now, and sometimes now, like, we're getting 150 people to show up. So word's getting out that this is a really interesting piece of Delaware's history and U.S. history, and I hope that continues to grow.